All right, everybody, welcome back to the Fantasy Addicts Fantasy Football Podcast. We are doing part 2 of our 16-round mock draft, where we tell you our guys that we are targeting in each round, one player from each round that we like, and guys that we are avoiding in each round, one guy that we are avoiding.
Whatever, I do what I want.
So let's get back to it. We do what we want. We want to do some more analysis of fantasy football players. So here we go.
Yes,
We're going into the 9th round. So I'm going to pull up my mock draft.
Move through these a little quicker, too.
All right. So in the 9th round, a guy that I liked is a guy that is on Nick's Dynasty team. We got Tevin Coleman.
Ooh, give me the business.
I like Tevin Coleman this year just because I think he's going to be one of the 2 main running backs for the 49ers. They like to run the ball. They have a good offense. They score points. They've got a smart coach. And Mostert, again, he had a really great year at the end of the year. But he's been in the league. Is he a world beater? Is he going to sustain the kind of pace that he had at the end of last year? Or will that door open up for at least kind of a 50-50 split?
You hear it all the time, talent wins out. I think you just got to trust and hope that Tevin Coleman wins out.
I think that there's just a world in which he gets volume on a good offense.
Right, you're right, though. When we're looking at the 9th round, high-volume offense, high-volume running attack, we don't know which one it is.
And I think that part of the problem is there could be weeks where he's the guy and the next week he's not. I think that they just predict when he's going to get it and when it's going to be Colonel Mustard.
Still don't like the 49ers offense just in general, but outside of George Kittle. But if you're getting late enough and you don't have the RB quantity that you wanted to have drafted by then, I think Tevin's a great pick.
If you're searching for a usable running back in the 9th, I think
this is one of those you're picking between
underrated.
You're picking between a player who is just not very good here, or somebody that could be either really bad or really good. I think Tevin Coleman could get that opportunity, and if he doesn't, then you can drop him, I guess.
All right, and the guy that I'm avoiding, the first pick in the 9th round in this draft is Deontay Johnson of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was a rookie. He's a talented guy. He made some good plays. He got used last year. First argument against is I just don't know if Big Ben, if he's going to be his guy like he was for the backups. I think that he kind of just, the hype train got going and it went a little farther than I'm willing to go. If he was going down back where he started, kind of in the, the 10th, 11th round.
Do you have a couple people that are going around the 9-1 spot?
So some guys going around there. Marvin Jones goes right before that in the 8th, which, again, some people are high on him as a sleeper. I know that the fantasy footballers that we like to watch have him as one of their sleepers.
Thanks for the
Mike Williams, who I like the talent of Mike Williams. You just don't know what his quarterback situation is going to be. But I think 2 years ago he had 10 touchdowns, and last year he had 3. So if those come back up again, he could be a useful guy. He's a tall, big-bodied guy who can box people out. He's a good red zone target.
Can I cut you off right here?
Go for it.
This is kind of what I'm saying here. Mike Williams will be bad.
I don't know that he will.
Mike Williams has never done anything ever. He's been your second best bench wide receiver for 5 years.
He's a usable piece,
but
they could get a touchdown in any game.
But I never want to put him in my lineup, ever. If I put him in my lineup, it's because I absolutely had to.
I actually personally like Mike Williams. I tried to trade for him in Dynasty, and I just wasn't able to get him.
Has he ever had a year where he's a wide receiver too?
Again, he had the 10 touchdown year where he was definitely usable in games. There was, I think, the end of last year he actually came on a little bit and was useful. I think I picked him up and played him in some weeks.
I think at this point, it's
he's got good talent.
I don't mind Deontay here. You're taking your stab at he could be a good wide receiver 2 option, or he's droppable.
So let me tell you a couple others that went behind him. Sterling Shepard, who again could really be a big part of the New York Giants, their team this year, their offense, if he's healthy. Jamison Crowder, who should be a PPR machine. If you get him in a half, he's still going to catch a lot of volume. He was very useful last year in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And they like him on the Jets. And who else are they going to throw it to on the Jets? They got a new rookie wide receiver. Again, was it Mims? And I don't know if Mims takes a while to develop, then Rashad Perryman, I know he's your guy that you've got in Dynasty, but he's more the take the top off. He's not going to get a ton of volume.
I have Perryman by accident.
If they throw Jamison Crowder 10, 5-yard passes and he catches 10 of them, he's definitely a useful guy that you can plug into your lineup, especially if you have a guy go down or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still buying into.
It'll be relevant.
I'm still buying into the Steelers, and I like Deontay here.
Okay, so also right in that range, Phillip Lindsay, Marlon Mack, Kerryon Johnson, Like there are some
Again,
running backs where
everybody guaranteed to be not good.
Kerryon Johnson, I'm interested in as a guy. Again, if you're looking in the ninth for just a running back who could, get a split and be good, maybe the rookie doesn't come in. Everybody, when the rookies are going, when they're doing the rookie draft, it's like, oh, this rookie's coming in. He's a world beater. He's going to be the guy. He's going to get all the touches. And then they come in and they don't.
But even without the rookies, he was still not very good.
He was good when he was healthy. He just wasn't healthy a lot. He had big games.
He was an okay wide receiver.
I think Kerryon was a good
RB2.
running back on a bad team. And again, part of it was they had LeGarrette Blount, where Matt Patricia just would keep using him when he did nothing, and then he'd give it to Kerryon, and Kerryon would go in. No,
because he was better.
That's the most absurd thing I've ever heard.
Oh, come on.
LeGarrette Blount would run 2 yards into the wall and just fall down.
Well, that's
and in the meantime, Kerryon would get just limited touches and have 10 yards consistently. I think if Kerryon's healthy, especially maybe even next year if he goes to another team, I think he could have a.
But the same thing. One of the Lions proved us that they've been a viable.
They have not, Matt Patricia. But again, wouldn't it be the narrative that Matt Patricia gets this stud running back who they took high, and instead of giving it to him, they all of a sudden just give it to Kerryon Johnson over and over and over again, and Kerryon has the better year?
No.
Wouldn't that make sense?
I would bet you money that Kerryon is not a viable fantasy option.
Okay. Anyways, moving on to the next round.
At best, bye-week flex play.
So here in the 10th round of this draft, and I've seen him go higher, but there are a lot of the pro expert analysis people that are out on this guy. But I personally, Evan Ingram, if in the 10th round I get Evan Ingram, just because I think the wide receivers for the Giants are okay, but not very good. And I think that they could easily, again, you could have Sterling Shepard. He's had concussion issues. He could get hurt. You could have, who am I thinking of? He came from the Lions. He was on there last year. He was pretty productive. I'll see if I can find him.
Not Ebron, right?
No, the wide receiver, Golden.
Oh, okay.
So if Golden Tate comes and he has some plays, but he's an older guy, I think that Evan Ingram, when he's been in, he's looked good. He's an athletic guy.
Right.
He's got good hands. They use him, pretty well that when they throw him the ball. It's just, can he stay healthy? And I think if you can get him in the 10th because of and again, by all accounts, right now he is healthy. He did not start on the active PUP list. He's going to training camp. And he's had years where he's put up some good production. So I like where he's going. If he was going up in the 8th, I probably wouldn't take the shot. But I like him there, especially if you waited and you're trying to take, one of those a little bit higher upside tight ends that go late. Right. I like him.
I think Ebron or Evan Ingram, he's the last kind of potential top 3 tight end that you can get.
Just when I think you couldn't.
No, I was going for the other Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance.
You go and do something like this.
Oh, now I got to redeem myself.
And totally redeem yourself.
It's the longest drop ever.
No, I've got much longer. The Billy Madison, I award you no points one is the longest one I've got.
Mercy on your soul.
We haven't used the drop of shame yet.
Yeah.
If he had said that A.J. Dillon was going to have more touchdowns than Aaron Jones, we might have to bust it out.
I don't know.
So again, we'll move on from Evan Ingram.
I agree. I like Evan Ingram, though.
So in this draft, it's interesting. This is not the first defense that came off the board, but the defense that came off in the 10th is the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots defense was phenomenal for a huge chunk of last year. They put up numbers much higher than other defenses where they could win you a week almost just by such the positional advantage, that they would give you.
Right.
Here's the thing. New England's going through a lot of, turnover. They've had, I believe, the most players opt out this year with the COVID concerns. They lost, I think, Chung, their safety, who's been a good player, who's been on the team for a long time. You don't know if their offense is going to be able to kind of control the pace the way that it has in the past. I just don't think that they're not even a team that I would probably take above about maybe the next 4 or 5 defenses that come off the board.
Again, if I'm talking about me personally, this is a quick one. Just don't pick a defense this early, and we can move on.
Fair enough. All right, so that's
all right. Let's just move on from there.
All right, so going on to the next round.
11th round.
The 11th round, we have one guy that I think that maybe you could take a chance on in the 11th round is Henry Ruggs. He was the first rookie wide receiver taken in the NFL draft, goes to the Oakland Raiders. Not everybody loved the landing spot, but I think at this point in the draft, you can take a shot. So now I'm looking for a little bit more. If I take a shot on a guy and he can maybe he comes out and they do give him a ton of volume. Maybe they do want to prove that they were smart enough to pick the best guy. Maybe he has some things that we, the public, weren't as aware of that they did pick up on because they do have, guys that are scouting and that's their whole job and that's all they do. So I think Gruden wants to throw it to him. I think that he can get the long ball, but I think that he does have the athleticism that they might get him involved, not just he's just running, the long route and they're airing it out to him. So I think that he's one, again, that also you can pick up, and if it doesn't work out, you can move on from him.
Well, I kind of equate this to what I said before with Mike Williams. Mike Williams is a surefire 6 to 8 points a week in PPR, which
is usable sometime.
Whatever.
You have an injury, you need a plug and play.
Ruggs could be either droppable because he's a rookie, not going to learn his the offenses quickly. Rookie wide receivers tend to not do very well, or he could be the focal point of that offense. So I would rather take Ruggs than a lot of those, yearly, questionable dudes.
Yeah, and this in the 10th and 11th round in this draft is where a lot of kind of those rookies were going off, right? In the round before, you had Justin Jefferson, Jalen Reagor,
and
Jerry Jeudy.
It could be just our dynasty, league
and
our current, draft research going on. But I like some of the rookies.
Yeah, and I will say that playing in dynasty has really helped me in redraft leagues because I'm aware of the rookies. I kind of know the upside.
Right.
I know the narrative a little better than some of my friends I play with that aren't, as addicted. So
right.
All right. So in this tier, at the 11-10, the guy that I am fully out on is Alshon Jeffrey. I believe he's going to start the year on the PUP list, so he's going to miss a number of games just right off the bat. You don't want to pick him up in the draft because he's just going to clog your roster.
So it's just Alshon Jeffrey then?
It's Alshon Jeffrey.
Yeah.
He's, again, I forget which Bears player, but when he played for the Bears, one of the comments that I heard that I feel like has really summed up Alshon Jeffrey was there are some guys that play – when they're at 80%, and there's some guys that only play when they're at 100%. And Alshon Jeffrey, they describe as a guy who only plays when he's 100%.
105%.
So I get that. You want to do your best. You don't want to re-injure yourself, but...
Well, if he's going to make his money anyway, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess I get
but
it.
he's just not... Again, seemed like, just my perception. We don't know any of these guys personally, obviously, but he just seemed like a mild-mannered guy. Seemed like he never was into Chicago, kind of maybe kept to himself, so... Again, Alshon, I'm out on. He's a talented guy when he plays. I don't think he's going to get on the field that much. He is getting older. I think that they're kind of moving away from him in Philadelphia.
You don't feel good about it. Granted, we're so late here that you're kind of the opposite is that they don't have a ton of wide receivers there. When he does play, this is a guy that you maybe want to key on, week 4 or 5 if he's out there on the waivers and he's about to come back.
Completely different, yeah.
Especially with all the COVID stuff going on, you never know. I think I'm looking for him, later on.
All right, so we'll move on from Alshon. We're going to the 12th round. So in the 12th round, at the 12-12, this is another tight end that I'm targeting later that I like the upside of is Hayden Hurst. He goes to Atlanta, coming from Baltimore. He was a high draft capital pick, was a rookie, and it always takes the rookie tight ends as the narrative a little bit longer to develop, so he's developing a little bit. I had actually dropped him in Dynasty, which now I'm kicking myself because he was just buried on the Ravens. He wasn't getting the volume. He seemed like he wasn't going to be the guy. They would use him, but he would, he'd get a touchdown here and there. He'd get some play, but then he goes to the Falcons where they just got rid of Austin Hooper, so they're looking to fill that gap. Austin Hooper had his best year last year.
Yeah.
Got a lot of volume. They threw it to the tight end. So if Hayden Hurst can come in and be that guy, then I think he's going to be useful. I think they're going to throw it to him. They use their tight end. So.
Yeah, if you're going to start your tight end collection here, I think that's a good one to start.
If you're looking for a tight end that maybe not everybody knows with upside,
I
think this is the place where you can get him. So we'll move on from Hayden Hurst. We'll go to the guy that I am.
He said that Hurst is a must-have. Might take a few weeks, but he thinks he's the real deal.
All right, I can get behind that.
I can buy it.
Is he the guy that picked him up? I don't know who picked him up, but I dropped him.
He's not in
and
our league
somebody picked
anymore.
him up. Oh no,
I know.
Oh, this is
Heath. Yeah,
Heath.
Barry and Heath. Heath from our league.
Heath, who should have traded me Lamar Miller. I tried to get him from. He snaked him
Lamar
in the draft.
Jackson.
Or Lamar Jackson. Pardon me. He snaked him in our draft by $1. I think he got him for like under $5.
$2.
Yeah. Something like that. Like I did 3, he did 4. And then I tried to make a trade for him and he just wouldn't give him to me. Oh, and now.
As much as I hate
and then he leaves the league.
That was the greatest call he's ever made.
He was right. You got to give it to him.
As much as I hate it, well done.
Yeah, and he also got Russell Wilson for what? Was it $11?
My first drop.
There you go. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, I got you. I thought we were talking to another guy from our league.
No.
Well, good to see you, Heath. So going on, another guy that I'm avoiding in the 12th, at the 12-1 is Curtis Samuel. So he plays for the Carolina Panthers. Had a lot of targets last year, but they were all awful targets. People had him as kind of a sleeper breakout candidate.
Yeah, my cynicism is creeping.
No, I think he's going to be the third wide receiver on that team after DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. I'm out. Not a believer.
Heath, I do have a spot in the redraft league if you want back in. All right, yeah, I agree. Not a fan. All right, who we got next?
Next one we're moving on to in the 13th round at the 13-2.
We have 16 rounds, by the way.
Yep. Justin Jackson. So Justin Jackson is the running back for the Chargers. He showed some flashes last year. He's got some juice. He's got some speed. If he can take over and be kind of the complement to Austin Eckler, I think that he can be productive. They did also pick up a rookie running back. I think it's Kelly is the name. So I don't know as much about him, but again, if those two guys, if they're battling it out, and if Justin Jackson can get the spot, if you can find, a guy who's going to get touches on the Chargers, who they've got a decent line. Again, there's some quarterback up and down, but again, if they can figure all those things out, and he's getting play, he's got the juice where he can break a long play now and then.
I like it. He had definitely flex play opportunities last year, and I think his role is going to be a little more defined, I think, as we get into the year.
All right, so now going back to the Packers, a guy that I'm not real high on. I would be avoiding A.J. Dillon. I think that coming in as a rookie, they've got Jones, they've got Williams. I think A.J. Dillon might have those games where he gets a goal line touch, where maybe he has a touchdown, but how many yards is he going to have? How many touches is he going to get?
I think he's going to have probably 5 to 7 touches a game. I think he's going to have not so much for yards, and I think he's going to score.
I think he's going to hurt the other Packers running backs
touchdowns.
More than he's actually going to have any standalone value.
I agree.
But maybe one game you get him and he breaks off 2 touchdowns, some short ones. But
yeah,
he's a plotter. He's a pounder.
But I think real life football, I think he's going to be pretty good.
And you just don't want the Packers any part of that train wreck this year.
Don't like it.
All right, so now we'll go on. We're going to.
I mean, you can't say they didn't give Aaron Rodgers any help, right? They got A.J. Dillon.
Well, now they have a quarterback so that when Aaron gets frustrated or tired, that other quarterback can come in and just give him a nice little break.
Exactly.
Just got to level up.
They just want to run the Wildcat occasionally.
I just hope those guys just aren't great like the next 10 years after this, and we all look like fools.
He thinks Dillon is going to be a dynasty option.
Next year. Yeah, dynasty, different story. But again, if you're picking him up in redraft this year, I don't think this is the year. But keep him on your radar for possible next year when Aaron Jones moves on.
Think he's going to move on?
I do think that he is going to move on, but
I don't.
I think draft this running back if
I think they're just not going to pay him.
Yeah, and someone will. Right. Someone will take a shot. I think that he could be a great running back for the Falcons, which is he might be a target in dynasty if you can get him.
Right,
but I've tried and it's steep.
Who do you like in the 14th?
In the 14th round, I like Damian Harris, the running back. This is his second year. He's running back for the New England Patriots.
Ooh.
I took him high in a rookie draft, ended up dropping him, but I think that Sony Michel having a little bit of injury coming into the year, I think they're going to need to run the ball more this year. They might turn into a pound-it kind of team. I am concerned that some of their offensive linemen have opted out, but this is just a year where why not give him some touches and see how he does? Like, what do they have to lose?
I'll just pick him up on waivers later.
And that's very possible, but he's a guy that you should be able to see the first couple of weeks.
Right.
Like, does he get on the field at all? Because last year he got on the field, I don't know how many carries, but it was just a very small sample size that you got from him, so you didn't see what he's
Patriots don't like rookies. I mean, that's just
again, Sony Michel re-aggravates, and he's the main running back for a team that I feel like is going to run the ball more.
I think the whole team's not going to be very good.
We don't know if he's good or not because he didn't get any opportunity.
Yeah.
So, again, if you're taking a long shot in this one, if you can get a running back who could get a lot of and the Patriots are exactly the kind of team where they would just have a guy that no one has on their radar, and then he's the guy they use all year.
Right.
Just as a big screw you from Bill.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait and see on the Patriots again. They're a team. There's too many changes for my personal taste in fantasy to buy in on any of their players. I know we're talking late rounds, and maybe I would feel different if I need more running backs, but I don't like it.
Yeah, all right. You don't have to like it. I'll take him. You can have somebody else.
That's true.
Maybe you can pick up this guy who I will be avoiding, Royce Freeman, a running back for the Denver Broncos. He was going at the 14-9, and I liked him. I liked him when he was a rookie. I thought maybe he'd get a chance. Philip Lindsay kept blocking him.
Yeah, I think you can just bury Royce Freeman at this point.
Yeah, I'm going to be out.
Yeah.
So.
This is my nightmare.
Oh, Royce, I had such high hopes for you, but luckily I think it was Ethan didn't trade him to me.
Yeah, I think his time as a fantasy option are done.
All right, so going into the 15th round at the 15-8, so there's 2 rounds left. Now, again, there are some leagues where they don't make you take a kicker in a defense, and then that's fine. You can plug in and, maybe one of those guys that you want to see. It's different this year because there's no training camp, but or like even a handcuff where a guy could get hurt in training camp. That happens every year. Because we don't have the training camp, it's a little different this year, but that's just something to think about if you're getting in, a little bit more trying to find that competitive edge. But at the 15-8 in this one, it was, let me see if I can figure out which defense off the board. We had, again, a couple that went early. The 49ers were the first one off in the 8th round, which is way sooner than I'd take a defense.
So early.
And then we had New England in the 10th, the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 11th, also the Ravens in the 11th. And now in this the second to last round is where you start to see more of the defenses going off. So the Bills come off, the Rams come off, Kansas City's off, and the Bears were there at the 15-8. If I get the Bears at the 15-8, again, I think that their defense is going to be good. If Hakeem Hicks comes back and he's healthy, him missing time really hurt their defense. If you're not a Bears fan, it's something that you might not have keyed in on. When he came back, they were a lot more productive. I think they did have one of their good defensive players opt out. The name's escaping me right now. But again, the Bears defense, that's what their team, that's what they want to do. They got Nagy, who's going to try to be offensively creative and smart, but that's what their team is good at. The Bears defense, I like them. They got Khalil Mack still there. He's going to be healthy. He's going to get sacks.
Well, I think defenses, especially at the beginning of the year, and the same thing with kickers, you're picking based off past history and maybe a draft. So I'm thinking things probably haven't changed. New England's going to be good. Ravens defense can be good. Bears defense is going to be – you're going to have the same 4 or 5 defenses that are going to be very solid again. I'm just taking the best of those options that's still available.
Yeah.
Same with kickers. You got Greg the Leg. You've got Tucker. You got a couple guys. If they're still available, great. If they're not, I'm just taking the next best and waiting and seeing.
So the guy that I'm avoiding in this round, which is an interesting one that just popped up, all right, is somebody drafted Jason Witten with the 15-11 in this draft, the tight end for the Las Vegas Raiders. If I called them Oakland earlier, correction, it's the Las Vegas Raiders.
There's Cowboy fans everywhere. They'll take anybody.
But they've got Waller, who's obviously their best tight end. I don't know why Witten's there. Maybe just to coach guys up. But, again, a good locker room presence. He guys seems to be a positive.
Is he a fantasy roster presence?
It's because Gruden's there. And Gruden's just like, now here's a guy who really reminds me.
We're not taking him.
Yeah,
he's a Gruden grinder.
Top
but
tight end. So, a Gruden grinder, but not a guy that I would ever want on my team.
Not who you want. All right, you got a couple last.
And the last two, the kicker
hates
that I do like this year, they had Justin Tucker, Butker, Zane and Will Lutz. All three of those kickers go before Greg Zuerlein. And I would take Greg Zuerlein above all of them. He's going to Dallas. They kick in a dome. They're going to be a team that I think scores a lot of points.
The only knock is the injuries. I mean, every year he's got
the most
injuries,
injured kicker.
And you can't hold a kicker week to week. I mean, if he's not playing.
Yeah, probably
it's
not
tough.
this year. Again, if you have deep benches and people all of a sudden, let's say that we go into this and not everybody's not getting sick, and there is a lot less of the people that we expect having missing time, then maybe you can hold one kicker. While
if it's like years past, then if you had to hold, you could. But
some people will say kickers don't matter, don't pay any attention to them. I disagree because there are kickers that outperform others, and if you can kind of do a little bit of research, you don't spend all your whole day, but maybe if you have that level of addiction where you just do a deep dive on kickers, you can get a little bit of an advantage because they are a player that has to be on your roster that does score points.
And a little tidbit, I'm going to have to find this. On Reddit, the Dynasty subreddit, and the regular fantasy, I think, this guy comes up and posts his whole analysis with, what kicker has the best matchup versus, how good they are in this whole calculation. They plan out through the whole year and basically tell you who to pick based off their year-long matchups and everything. And it's surprisingly accurate, and the week-to-week analysis is surprisingly accurate. So I think if you need some extra research, I'll try and find it to give to people in the future, maybe to add in the YouTube comments. But it's a great resource. I use it all the time. Just go in any of the Fantasy Dynasty or Fantasy Regular Reddit pages and search for, kicker rankings week to week. But
and
defense.
My guy that I had is down for the not draft. This is the only one where actually he went in the 15th. Justin Rohrwisser. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. He is the kicker.
Are we going
for
this deep?
New England.
Are we going this deep?
He went before. He went off the board before Butker, before Will Lutz, before Greg Zuerlein. I just want to say I would not take him before them.
The Patriots fans are as nuts
Are you ready
as
for
Dallas
the deep dive of kickers?
Man.
All right, I'm going to tell you about some kickers.
End us on some kickers.
Okay. Young Ho Koo, the best name, the Atlanta kicker. You got to love a Young Ho, right?
Yeah.
He's a guy, again, had some good games last year. But again, I just wanted to say his name.
Of course.
Also, this is the one that I wanted to bring up. I was watching Good Morning Football, and they did a little bit of a bio on Rodrigo Blankenship. So Rodrigo wears these
Robert Aguayo?
Rodrigo Blankenship. Wears these big glasses, and he's got all these Instagram pictures with these different celebrities. He had a picture with Vinatieri. He is the new kicker, an undrafted free agent who was one of the hyped up kickers before the draft.
So
who
like the
went
guy from
to
the Replacements?
Indianapolis. And if you're looking for a deep dive, if you're just at the end of your
just for the memes,
and you just want to take a chance on a guy who could end up being one of those top level kickers, Mr. Blankenship. Again, just a name to. If you can do some research on Rodrigo Blankenship, you're gonna like him. He's a guy you're gonna.
Did you call him Mr. Blankenship?
See if you could Google him and get a picture. Mr. Blankenship.
I don't like it.
He is gonna be the kicker sensation of the year. You're gonna hear about him. You heard it here first. Hopefully,
I'll have to look.
Start getting excited.
All right, you want to wrap us up?
Yeah, let's see if we got a drop to get us out of here. So if you're doing your drafts, you're doing your mock drafts, and you're looking, hopefully you got a lot of good players, some that you can target now that you heard from us, because you always need more dogs.
We need more dogs.
All right, so that's going to do it for us tonight. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate the comments.
Yep, always try to remember, subscribe, comment, like, all the business.
So we live stream on Twitch. We're going to be putting them up on YouTube too. We got a couple videos up there now. So, the Fantasy Addicts.
Perfect. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.